What's up, you absolutely wonderful Magento loving friends of mine? Joseph here, coming at you with yet another practice test question. This one I think is going to be a little bit easier, but we'll see. Well, actually, at this point, by the time you watch this video, you will already have seen just how difficult this question is for you. So, without further ado, let's jump in and take a look at this question here today. You are reviewing, and of course, another development. Not your code. This would be another developer's code. So let's see what they're going to write here. And you see this snippet: spans, translate, etc., tracking numbers, close span. What will be the final output? All right. So what is this good output we're going to see here? All right. 3 answers. An error, as translate is not a valid attribute. So we jump back here. We see translate right here. That is not a valid attribute. That would be answer A. Additional email for tracking numbers, exactly like what we'd hope to come out of here. Remember, folks, just remember 1 second that this is Magento, so not be exactly what we would expect to come out of this. And then we have the third option of additional email for tracking. Oh, tracking, and then we see that what's actually inside of this, the content of the span here. So these are the 3 options. What was your option? The one that you selected. So you would have to know this already, because if you were sitting in a test trying to come up with the answer on this, then you would have a bit of a problem. I think we probably could kind of narrow it down to 2. Well, we can narrow it down to 2 groups of answers, which is always a winning strategy. So we have 2 groups. We have basically the translate versus not an attribute, like basically we're going to throw an error here, versus the additional email for a tracking number. So it's one rendition or another here in this context. So which one should we choose? Well, this one is, like I said, it's going to be a little bit easier of a question. It kind of is more or less memorization at this point. So we can really boil this question down to a single question saying, is translate a valid attribute for a given tag? And the answer for that is found right here. We can come in to the custom knockout.js bindings, which is a very helpful piece of information here. And we will see, let's see here, the translate. Where was that translate? It was on this page here. It was, all right, it was just right there. Okay. So we have our internationalization, and we have our alias as an attribute and as the tag. Now, for the sake of clarity, I was not able to get the translate to work itself, the translate tag. It didn't take a lot of time to investigate that. It could be a bug. It was interesting to look into that. It would be interesting to look into that. But this is the one I chose to use specifically for this example. And yes, this is a legitimate example. Typically speaking, in the code, I almost always see this nomenclature. But this is an opportunity to review this page, and we will put this page in the comments so you can easily review it. This is how you learn new features. And I come through here and I'm like, I forget that there is so many other things that are available here. So make sure you take this opportunity to just dive in and take a look. Now, here's proof that what I have stated is accurate. So we have, I put in my code ASDF, so that's not exactly what was in the practice test question, but otherwise it's literally copied out of this, my code here. So additional email for tracking numbers. We put our, and one thing to note actually is a separate teaching opportunity here, is you want the content of what you're going to be translating to be as translatable as possible. There's no reason to put a colon on the end of that. Now, obviously, if I think most languages or all languages have a colon. That's just the idea of meaning, hey, this is prefixing something that is to come. But it reduces the number of translations that one has to do if you break it up into applicable segments. Or, again, feel free to use the translation substitutions that are available here. And finally, along these lines, Navarre Barnier, who works with me at SwiftOtter, he did a ninja training, e-commerce ninja training, and I will also put the link to that here in the comments. Absolutely phenomenal when it comes to these translation strings. So don't miss that, because you're going to learn a lot from how that works. So all that to say, this works, and yeah, I hope that you selected answer B here in this case. If you did, great work. If you didn't, well, not a problem. It might take a little extra time. Take a little study, and you'll get it next time. Keep up the great work, my friends, and I'll be back at you with another practice test question next week.